ABAC presents its multimedia event, Listen to the Land 2, Food Cultures. First, let's experience the culture of Jamaica. Winston and Paulette Williams were both raised in the Jamaican parish of St. Elizabeth.
As I said, we're an island, we're small, we're like surrounded by, the sea all around. Just the culture of the persons, it's all different.
While they've been accustomed to the way of life they learned growing up, the Williams family have made themselves a home that brings a bit of Jamaican culture to South Georgia living.
My mind was conditioned, but it's takes a lot to get used to because it's Jamaica and moving to the state here, it's a vast difference. I'm not sure I would do well like in a big major city. I think I've been there and I've done that. So I think I'm at a stage in my life now where I just need peace and quiet. So Georgia, it's okay for me.
The couple bring their knowledge of food and the ways it is prepared in Jamaica and find ways to integrate it in their lives here in Georgia.
Well, my grandfather, he was a farmer, and I grew up with him from about 9 years old. All his life, he's farmed, he raised cows, he raised pigs, he raised goats, and he was a butcher. So for me to come here, it's easier for me to do it, because it's something that I grow in. So, that's why I get to love it. If you don't love something, what you're gonna do, you're not gonna stick to it, because as soon as something go wrong, you're gonna give up. You can't give up. You just have to just keep doing it.
Running this family farm and garden takes on a whole new meaning here in Georgia, rather than doing the same things back in Jamaica, with the Williams family being an example of persistence.
In Jamaica, rearing animal is like a part of our big culture. People don't only rear the animal there for meat, it's also a source of income. We will grow up with our parents probably having pigs and goats, and that's how income comes in to like take care of the family. So it's just like continuing with what we're used to there, and then we just appreciate that we're able to do it here. But we don't really do the farming here so much for compensation. It's more for to be self-sufficient here than it's the reverse in Jamaica where you would be doing it for an income. So that's the difference there.
Of the dishes that were prepared, you could imagine that goat will have its place on the plate.
All right, so today we're doing curry goat with rice. We call it rice and peas, but it can be like called kidney bean and rice. It's just done a little different from the way it is done here. It's done the Jamaican way. So we'll be doing brown stew chicken, curry goat, rice and peas, and fried chicken. So that's the menu for today.
Each dish is prepared so that the family can stay true to their culture and either use what they've made or bought to get those same flavors.
So we are big on using natural spices for cooking. So we would use like powdered season, but we try to use like meat season or chicken season with all purpose. But it must be very low on salt because the taste of the food is not so much about the high taste of the sodium in it. It's all about the spice. So a lot of our spices would be like natural fresh garlics, onions, scallion, thyme, and carrots, and sweet bell pepper, and our favorite, our Scotch bonnet pepper. So those are some of our major seasoning, which will make our food stand out and just taste different, okay?
Another standout feature that the Williams family has is their highly populated goat farm, which is a key part to their self-sufficient lifestyle.
Honestly, I can't really see what on my mind, because each time I count, I keep on forget, and then they have babies. So I probably have about 40 head of goat now or more. But I don't think I need any more. Because they keep having babies, keep having babies. So that's one of the reasons why I separate them, because I don't want no more. What's that thing where constantly breed? They at least is 11 days after they have kid, they can get pregnant again. 11 days. If they get pregnant 11 days after they just have kids, that could be a bunch of babies. Yeah, so what I'm gonna, I can't eat so much goat.
The Williams family home runs on their self-sufficient lifestyle, keeping their love of family at the heart of Jamaican culture. Let's experience the culture of the American trapper.
The Trapping Association's main goal is educating people about trapping and preserving the rights and the history and the, not sport, but the practice of trapping. And it is honestly really important for fur bearers in the state. So coyotes, red and gray fox, bobcats, raccoons, possums, beavers, and otters. Those are the main things we trap. There's a couple other things like skunk and stuff, but I'd rather not trap them.
Annabelle Wilson tells us why it's important to trap wildlife in the state of Georgia. The reason for trapping beaver being one example.
One place me and my dad have trapped recently, and for the past couple of years, is my high school. There is a pond back behind the football field, and behind there is a neighborhood. But beavers have gotten into the pond over the past couple of years, and they've dammed it up. And so the neighborhood has been flooding and stuff. And that's obviously not good. You don't want your backyard to be flooded, and you don't want the water to be getting into your house and stuff. So when we come in and we remove those beavers and we break the dam so that the neighborhood isn't flooding. Another place where it's important is your airports and your military bases. When there's planes and helicopters and different things going down runways, you can't have a deer or something running onto the airstrip because that gets in the way of your planes and everything for takeoff. And it's really important to keep those off of your airways for safety. We don't kill the animals all the time. Sometimes we'll relocate the animals to where it is safer for them. I know maybe some smaller alligators, if they happen to wander into your little pond or whatever on your golf course, can move them to the swamp or move them to somewhere where it's more appropriate for them to be. Although trapping is something that is fun and recreational for some people, it is also very much a tool for management and safety. I had been around trapping for a couple years before I started, but at the time I was playing travel volleyball.
Traveling for volleyball made it to where she couldn't dedicate time to being more involved in what she now loves. But in the 6th grade, she started to rethink her priorities.
It was during my midterms that year, and so I had to miss my midterms to go to the youth field trials, but it was worth it. Me and my brother both caught a black coyote and a gray fox at that first youth field trials, and so we ended up tying for first place, although my animals were higher quality than his. So that really sparked my love for trapping that year. So I've been to every single youth field trial since then. We started getting into beaver trapping, which is a whole different ball game. And so we were catching all these beavers, but we weren't doing much with them. And so we decided that we were going to eat them one day. So we started cooking them up, and we haven't turned back since. It's one of my favorite foods, especially when I'm at home. And my mom's like, "What you want?" I'll get her to cook some beaver stew if we have any at the time. And teaching kids how to trap, or educating the public on trapping and why it's important and what it's used for is honestly really close to my heart. That's one thing I want to always be doing. That's one of the reasons I entered the wildlife program here at ABAC, just so that I can be better equipped to share about the animals and habitat management, predator management, and why it's important, and how to do it properly and be humane and efficient. And that it's like a family event because I get to spend more quality time with my dad. If I'm trapping, I'm with him 90% of the time.
It's really cool to know that hunting wild animals is not only a great way for families to bond and feed themselves, but also it's responsible and it maintains the environment and the animal's habitat for the people that live there. I think sometimes we forget that we are a part of nature as well.
Now let's experience some Indian culture.
In the Indian culture, traditionally, women cook the food. Indian food consists of rice, beans, and vegetables with a mixture of multiple spices. The food is based on the region and the climate. Dr. Shubha Chatterjee, native of India, talks about why different regions and climates have different food.
The place where I'm from, the east, it's in Ganges, like in that area. So it's river, so it's a valley area where it's a lot of rice, paddies, corn, and fish. So the staple food is rice, fish, and vegetables with lentils. But if you go to the north, it's more of like, hilly area. So wheat grows there. So their staple food is like lamb or mutton or meat. And again, because the temperature there is colder and it goes to real cold sometimes.
There are many festivals in India. One in particular is a Hindu festival celebrated among religions in India called Holi, which is a big part of the Indian culture and is widely known.
It's mainly a Hindu festival. It is also kind of like welcoming the arrival of spring, and also like the triumph over like a victory of good over evil. But it's in India, it's celebrated by all religions. It's kind of like a festival where everyone plays with colors and goes to each other's house and apply the powder color mainly, but also the wet colors, and they eat like special sweets are made on that day, and people are invited for lunch and for dinner.
She also explains some of the reasons behind the colors and the benefits of using them.
Pollens were used to make the colors, and those pollens were anti-pox. So when you smear it on your skin, then it helps. It never used to be the chemical colors before, but now people use organic colors and also the cheap chemical colors.
We wanted to go to an actual holy festival, so we went to the Shri Swaminarayan Hindu temple in Tirthan, where we met Jagruti Patel, member of the temple, who was also one of the cooks for this Hindu festival.
And salt. Chili, dry chili. My name Jagruti Patel. I'm from Gujarat, India. I make today dal, puri, potato sabji, laddu.
In the small kitchen, a flurry of activity took place as the women prepared food for over 200. As they lit the gas cooker, cut the potatoes, clean the royal basmati rice,
You see, dirty water?
added spices to the tur dal, as well as the potato sabji. The food made for Holi and the Indian culture has been passed down for generations. Patel and Dr. Chatterjee explain where they learned.
My mama, she teach me, so when I cook first time, that's not real good. But we try and everything is good, we cook right now is good.
We learn from our mothers, grandmothers, and sometimes cousins. And when they get married, then their husband's family has maybe a little bit of twist in that tradition. Like they cook it in a different way, or they add a different masala to it, so it tastes different a little bit. And so it's a people learn, and now everything is on YouTube. So if anybody wants to learn, like, you have to just type in like this food from this time, and they get it. And there are some who like to learn it from, they don't have their mom here and they want to cook a dish, they look up YouTube or something.
Dr. Chatterjee noticed while she was there that there was a different kind of dal served during this holy celebration.
Gujarati dal. नहीं, तुवेर की दाल.
That was a specific dal that was cooked. It wasn't the red lentil. It was tur. So it's a different dal, cooked in a different way. So the red lentil has more protein, and you don't generally, if you add, like sometimes you can add some vegetables like sweet peas, green peas, or small cauliflower florets to it. But generally you don't eat it and need to add anything more to that. But different dals are also cooked in different ways.
Patel also mentions in the interview how she teaches her daughter how to determine spices.
In home, we have one small, a spoon, one size. And I teach her, you have to put first time little bit. And you have to taste. If you need more salt, more spicy, you have to add it up, But first time we have to cook, you have to put little bit all spicy inside. Then she tasting after she put more.
As Patel continues to teach her daughter and others about the culture of India and the food within it, their culture will be preserved.
Now let's experience some Native American culture.
Let's say I lived in Orlando for quite a few years, and it wasn't until I lived there that I really had like seafood, like actual seafood, not just shrimp. Like, turns out I like it. So that opened the door, and I went to culinary school while I was there. I went to Le Cordon Bleu, developing like, what to look for in taste, texture, things like that. Because, a lot of people eat with their eyes just as much as their mouth. So you want your food to look good, taste good. It's got to have that mouth feel. So, just your classic training there. It's a little different than the training I got in the kitchen growing up with getting underneath Granny's legs and getting stepped on. So
Stanley Gurley is of Native American lineage. He tells us how his training at Le Cordon Bleu was vastly different from what he learned from his mother and grandmother. Watching them cook and eating was what sparked the interest in him.
It's like, okay, I like this, so let me see what Granny or Mama is doing to make this. And then I would just try to make it myself from time to time when I could get into the kitchen to do it, usually when they were away. I remember the first time I tried to make pancakes. I think I made dough frisbees. No. I did not know what I was doing. It was something. It was some type of something. But it was a start, right? But we all mostly start out with things like grilled cheese and scrambled eggs, the basics, the easy stuff. Then as we get older, Mama says, get in the kitchen and cook that spaghetti. So you go do that. To me, it's the outcome, because you may not always get what you want, but if it tastes good, then you just created something new. So it's an inventive process. It's always ongoing. You're constantly inventing something new. Even your accidents can turn out to be good accidents sometimes. And then when it's not, hey, you know what? Failure is a great teacher. Just don't do what you did. Do something different. Figure it out.
Stanley's method of cooking is very experimental. His accidents turning into good accidents reminds me of Bob Ross's Happy Little Trees. Cooking Native American food is an art for Stanley.
And especially with cooking Native American food, because a lot, we didn't have cookbooks back then. There are some cookbooks that have been written on Native American cuisine, but most of those are not written from a traditional standpoint. They use more modern things like chicken eggs and white flour. One of the desserts I make, which was very popular down in the South, and it wasn't just my tribe that made this. A lot of different tribes had their own take on it, is sweet potato pone. Like, you would be surprised how amazing that is and how crazy it is that a lot of people don't know what it is anymore. During the pioneer days, the pioneers ate that stuff because you just cook it in a big cast iron Dutch oven. It's simple. You grate sweet potatoes, brown sugar, molasses, eggs. I put a little cornmeal in mine because I think it just adds a good texture to it. But you want your cornmeal to soften down because you don't want that grittiness. You make a cardamom whipped cream to go on there. You do a maple glaze because maple, that's a native thing. Maybe not with the Native American cuisine. A lot of people, this is new. This is news. This is something that's been around on this country longer than European cuisine. But to a lot of people, this is new. This is new stuff. A lot of people don't know. They don't even really consider it. They don't consider indigenous foods as an option. When really, it's all around you. You just got to know what you're looking for.
I was in awe at all the different foodstuffs that the natives ate. Some are things that I've eaten before, and some of them I've never even thought were edible.
Use things like duck eggs, seagull eggs, quail eggs, if you can catch them. I don't know of any using alligator eggs, but it probably happened. Wild rice, wild like bay laurel, boar, and squirrel. Banana leaves are something you can use. Possum, alligator tail, wild onion, wild garlic, mussels, oysters, some acorns, cattails, dandelion, for example, with hickory nuts, snapping turtle, a raccoon. And that's what I like to do. That's my passion behind cooking. I'm not, I've never gone out with any intentions of being a famous chef or anything like that. It's just something I enjoy. It's not even a title for me. I don't even go about saying I'm a chef. I don't. I just happen to become one in a time of need, but I'm a chef by degree only. But it's something passionate. It's a survival thing for me, but it's also keeping history, keeping a culture, and whether other people take that in or not, regardless, I know it's out there, and that's the most important part. Because traditions die if people don't continue them to the best of their ability.
I thoroughly enjoy sitting and talking with Stanley and learning about his family's Native American heritage. I especially liked learning about how the Native Americans both lived on and listened to the land.
Let's experience some Afghani Turkmen culture.
Mahibula and Salim, two Afghani Turkmen natives who were childhood best friends.
I came here in 2022 in Tifton. So Salim came here in November 2023, and he came from Turkey, and he had a case to come here, and he got approved, and now he's here and he's working.
After learning more about Mahibula and Salim, we got to the main course and asked, what special meal were they preparing for us today?
Salim, he is trying his best to make our Afghan kebab the best, but we try, but we can find what we want here. Yeah. So we have a sheep, a kind of sheep that we have been searching here for a while, but we couldn't find that kind of sheep. We usually made kebab out of sheep meat, lamb.
Many of you may know that different cultures share a special connection between different things. We wanted to know, was there a special connection shared within the kebabs they were making for us today?
Originally, the place we lived actually named Turkestan Zamin. Now it's named Afghanistan. So it was Turkestan Zamin. We were people living by the river Amu Darya, and so it's also called. It's a very big river. We lived there, and we had sheep, and mostly. So sheep is one of our sources to go and live somewhere, and we eat sheep, and we sell the skin, and we sell the wool, and we made carpet out of it. So kebab is very related to our culture.
When you share a piece of your culture with someone else, it's like sharing a piece of yourself. We wanted to know, what does it mean to them to share their food with someone from America?
Sevabı bizler hali sonra göç mazarlar et pişiriyor. Bizleri şolardan soruyoruz. Bu gerçi bilen zatlarımız öz kültürümüzde.
We love to cook. We love to cook and serve our guests, and to show our deepest hospitality to our guests. And we never. We just don't take any chances to not to have bad hospitality. So we share the best of our hospitality and share our best foods and serve our guests.
As we begin to wrap things up, our final question was, do they have any plans on expanding their food and culture here in America?
So we have been talking about him opening a restaurant here. Maybe we could share our food here, our Turkmen food here, Afghan Turkmen foods, all the ones, and Salim has been just thinking about it. Now he's a very good construction worker as well, so he's now working as remodeling works now. So he's thinking about opening a restaurant here in Tifton, maybe, if he gets the chance. And
Salim has plenty of Afghan Turkmen culture to share, and with the right resources, his dream of building a restaurant here in America is likely to come true.
Now let's experience some Slovakian culture.
Jan Gregus and his wife Adriana Gregus grew up in socialist Czechoslovakia, where the politics were strongly influenced by the Soviet Union. In 1992, after the end of the communist rule, Slovakia and the Czech Republic peacefully broke away and became independent nations. They present a dish from their culture called goulash.
We're having goulash. The recipe was cooked up by my wife Adriana here. This is a traditional South Slovakian dish from Hungarian border. Yeah, it's not that they don't make it elsewhere, but it's considered traditional down there, which is where we come from. It's a very simple recipe: fried onions and beef, and spices, simple spices such as black and red pepper. And then at some point, the potatoes are added, and the whole thing is simmered for several hours or till the meat is tender. And it's served with a steamed bread that is not that easy to make, and it's rather special for that, but that's typically what it's served with.
Traditionally, it's a party food. People would get together, make a fire, to translate the
kettle?
The kettle.
Like a cauldron type of thing?
Yeah.
That hangs over the fire.
Usually it's made of copper, and they start cooking, and the recipe is always different. And then when it's done, they eventually sit down and eat it.
In Slovakia, people express their culture in different ways, especially when it comes to the goulash parties and get-togethers.
Sometimes, they hike in the forest. Sometimes there's singing, dancing, singing more than dancing.
Yeah. Somebody will bring a guitar. That's almost for sure. Somebody will bring a guitar and start playing, and people would sing folk songs or whatever songs they might, that everybody would know. It's probably the most likely one of those things that people would do there.
There are many folk songs sung in Slovakia. Dr. Gregis tells us about a particular folk song about a historical figure named Janoschik.
The song is about the famous outlaw called Janoschik. He robbed the rich and gave to the poor. That's what he did, and he was a historical figure. But so there was a song, and there are many folk songs about folk hero, right? It's about him being actually captured. So how they captured Janoschik. Ulapali Janoschika. Ulapali Janoschika. That means they captured him. So that's a song, and it's a popular song at those parties because you actually repeat. One person, the can kind of sings, and then you all repeat, and it's just a lot of fun.
In Slovakia, people make a lot more homemade meals. The women are more likely to cook these meals.
In Slovakia, we don't go out to eat. So since we were little children, we were there in the kitchen, kind of looking for scraps and stuff to do, and as the mom was cooking, she would teach you stuff like that.
Especially if you're a girl.
True, yeah.
I would ask my mother, but I would ask her how to make scrambled eggs or whatever, just so I can make it for myself. I don't have to ask her, and she's not at home. But
girls are supposed to help, and they are brought up like that. So and my situation, or my family, it's even more. I don't know. We used to say people quarrel. Whose recipe is goulash? Really, is it Hungarian? Is it Slovak? In my family recipe is pretty much in the middle of it, because my mom is Hungarian and my father is Slovak. So it's the best of the best.
Since being there at the beginning of an International Food Festival at their church, they decided to introduce goulash to the people.
We tried with friends to cook the more typical stuff, but some people love it, some people hate it. So for crowds, for masses, we thought goulash would be something that they would enjoy. So we did it. And people come back every year asking for it, so we can't change it now.
Sharing your culture can help other people understand it. Mr. Gregis explains why he shares the food from his culture.
Sharing the culture and give everybody opportunity to learn something unexpected and new that they haven't known before. And the same opportunity was there for us. And so sharing is the thing. That's a good thing, especially if it's food. Oversharing is sometimes, as we know, not the greatest thing. Food, yeah, let's try it.
Let's finish it off by bringing it back towards home and experience the culture of soul food.
What is soul food? It's the cuisine associated with African Americans in the southern U.S. It has dishes such as fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, and so much more. Today, soul food is popular in a small town called Ashburn, Georgia. Shara Southern Soul Food opened its doors in the fall of 2023. Founded by Shara Macy, each meal is made with love and affection for the people lined up at her door.
It's a love language. All my food is cooked with love.
Soul food is African American heritage, so how come Shara, not an African American, becomes so well versed in this type of cooking? She learned how to cook while watching her grandmother and mother as a little girl.
I remember washing dishes with Mama all the time. Remember everything in Mama's kitchen was homemade too. She learned everything from Grandma Massey. That was my dad's mom. So it was just, she taught her a lot of cooking. Mama taught us.
Later in her life, her black mother-in-law also influenced her cooking.
I used to always love to watch her cook. Meatloaf, oxtails, roast. It's just, so I got a little bit of all of it. So that's where it comes from.
For them, cooking brings them closer together. The bonds between them are as strong as ever.
My sisters work here. My niece works here. And then another family friend and my aunt. We all trade out. I'm always here though.
Shara believes that food is culture-based and not determined by race.
You can't define it by color or race or anything. It's all cooked with love. And it's, I've learned it from black, white, Mexican. It don't matter.
Shara makes various dishes for her restaurant. Shara's menu, depending on the day, can consist of fried oxtails, fried tacos, fried chicken, pork chops, dressing, and so much more.
It makes me feel good. When I see their face, I know basically what they want. If they want the homemade buttermilk the buttermilk chicken finger sandwiches, I have a few of them that Thursday I have a few that comes just for the fried tacos. Then I have some on Friday that comes, you basically know what they're coming to get, and it makes you happy, and you say, I've done my job, it's accomplished, they're happy, I'm happy.
But the menu also includes hamburgers, wings, and even seafood. They even serve breakfast on select days. Her customers are there to always support her as they come from the local community and all around.
A lot of my customers are from here, but I have them from all surrounding counties. Some coming from Atlanta, especially when I have oxtails or the dressing plates. They'll come to get pans of dressing at Christmas and Thanksgiving. I sell them by the pans, and I sell a lot of them. Now I got plenty of room for freezer space and refrigerators, and they love the dressing also. That's a big item.
When I first met Shara, we was all talking about what we like to do. I like to talk. And Shara was like, I love to cook. And I was like, what kind of food you cook? And she was like, I can cook anything. And so I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna show you. And she just loves to cook. She loves to bring people together. She brings people together through her food. Her food tastes amazing. You can tell she cooks with love. And it's amazing because every time she cooks, it never misses. It's always, what these kids say, bussin'.
For her, it's an honor to cook for so many people. Good food is prepared with a loving attitude.
I just tell them, that people have to eat this food. You want them to know it's cooked with love. You don't want to get in the kitchen angry and stressed and sad. You want to come in the kitchen happy, because that's your food. That's your cooking it.
For Shara, opening this restaurant wasn't just another job. It was a dream come true.
Thank you for joining our Round the World experience. This has been Listen to the Land 2 Food Cultures.
do I say that now?
In Jamaica, curry is more linked towards the Indians. Curry is one of the main dishes for Indian. You can tell your mom to turn off that thing and get rid of it from it, please.
So we're rolling now.
Ready? Go ahead. All right, hello. All right, so what is your name and where are you
Just
from?
stop a second. I have to make sure the sound around us. Him talking.
Homemade dumplings. She used to make those all the time. Baby, you don't know you didn't stay with her like I did. That's fine.
How is it? It's really good. Really good. So say they didn't give you none?
I think that's a rusty axe over there.
Just don't catch me picking my nose.
Can't have you too much, you get
A long time ago, don't remember.
I said thank you guys.
Thank you.
I was a little bit nervous.
Yeah. Oh, no problem. Yeah. Oh, okay. You know?
Maybe should have got more shots.
I saw a rabbit over there on that fence line yesterday. I was in Bible study and I looked out the window, there was a rabbit and I got distracted.